Hello and welcome. This is Michele Christensen of One Noteworthy Life, and in this video I'm going to show you how I set up an experiment that I'm doing this month of putting 1 month of focused effort toward one area of my life and really focusing on that area way above anything else. I wanted to show you the very beginning of this experiment so that you can see how it works out. Now, if you're new here or you do first time meeting me, I am an avid OneNote fan, and aside from being a YouTube creator, I'm also a blogger at OneNoteworthyLife.com, and I host the largest OneNote group on Facebook, which is the OneNote Bullet Journal Facebook group. If you're not familiar with OneNote, it's a free digital note-taking software from Microsoft, and I use it to keep track of just about every area in my life that I need to stay on top of or that I need to take care of. Now, I have specifically set this experiment up to be outside of OneNote so that it's not tucked away on my computer or phone and it's much more visible. So let me tell you about what the experiment is. So in this month, in this experiment, I'm focusing on one of my daily habits that I tend to neglect, which is the postal mail. This month, I'm going to be doing 30 sessions of 10 minutes each working on the postal mail, which works out to about 1 per day, including weekends. Aside from setting this ambitious goal, I'm also tracking my progress on this big wall calendar. Let me go back and show that. And if you can't tell from the photo, it's 22 inches by 17 inches. Now, I've mounted this calendar in a very visible place in my house so that I can't help but see it. In fact, you might even see it in the background there. I use OneNote and a few other apps for all of my planning and tracking, and this is the only paper tool that I use, which makes it stand out even more. So the experiment has 2 parts to it. One is the intense focus that I'm putting on this particular habit. I'm really kind of pulling together a lot of the just sort of general work that I do on things around the house and putting it toward this one area. The second part of it is the way I'm tracking my efforts, because as I mentioned, this is the only paper that I use, and it's also very visible for me. Now, with any good experiment, you want to have expectations or what you think might happen, or in my case, what I hope happens. So what I hope for is that doing this little bit of daily or almost daily exposure will help me to stop dreading this task so much. I'm thinking that if I do it every day, just a little bit, and stay on top of it, that it'll start to feel just like a small, more routine chore rather than some big, yucky thing that I need to wrestle with. And I also hope that by the end of the month, I'm more on top of the mail. So that would be a really big, free up a lot of mental space for me. So there's probably some people that would say, well, why is this even a problem? What's the big deal? And that's a great question. The one thing I want to say, a couple of reasons it's a problem. In my household, we get a lot of mail, physical postal mail, that needs to be acted on. There's a few examples of this. One is we have a few different local medical centers that we use, and they, for the most part, do paper billing, at least at first. In some cases, some of the specific doctors or offices we deal with will let you set up paper billing, but after going through a process. And it's also not unusual to go and see like one doctor and get 4 separate paper bills for that one visit. So that's, just a lot of mail just in that one area. There's also seems to be happening more and more often that somewhere somebody has a security breach. And it seems in my life to happen about twice a year that some service or institution that I deal with has a hack or security breach that has nothing to do with me or any choice I've made. But it nonetheless requires me to take a lot of actions. So examples that I can think of include a credit card, a cell phone carrier, and an email provider. And those are just recent examples that happen. These things can be really disruptive, and they often have a lot of steps on my end, the user's end, to fix, and it can even last years. I could ignore these things. A lot of people probably do, but identity theft is a really big deal, and it can ruin a person's life, so I do take it seriously. Another category I get is miscellaneous notices that are required by law to be sent by paper. So some examples would include things from my bank or insurance company. They have certain things, I guess, that they have to send by law, by postal mail as required by law. And then finally, like kind of one other category of notices required by law would be like class action lawsuits that happen to include me. I've never taken action to start one or join one, but sometimes like something will come up that I happen to be a part of. And then I also have gotten product recall notices or things like that. So that's just a lot of stuff that needs to be acted on. The other thing I do is I am very conscientious of putting my junk mail in the recycling bin. We get a ton of different junk mail that's personalized. So it's got our name and address on it. And a lot of times it has details that, I'm kind of like, wow, why would you put that in here? Things like, we want to offer you this deal or whatever. And in California, where I live, recyclable bottles have a deposit on them. So once we put the recycling bin out for the weekly collection, it gets rifled through multiple times. And, I don't know if identity thieves could pick your junk mail out and possibly do something to, hurt you with it. But I feel like people that want to commit fraud are getting more and more sophisticated, and putting this kind of stuff regularly in your recycling bin could set you up to be the subject of identity theft or fraud or something like that. And I just don't want to trust, someone that has their intent set on committing fraud with that kind of, information about me just easily accessible in my recycling bin. So a lot of that stuff I go through and shred. And again, someone else, might just put this stuff out. But I will tell you, I have personally seen just like blowing around in the wind, like I'll find someone's like very detailed medical bill or, a legal notice or something. And, I just don't want that kind of stuff sitting out there for someone to find. So let me talk about why I set this up the way I did, the experiment. So first of all, this particular setup, it's very in your face. I kind of can't miss it. So I'm seeing it every day, and it's very much a reminder. And one of the things I love about OneNote and doing all my life management and planning and things like that on apps is that there's no physical space that they take up. Everything's just neatly tucked away, and I don't see it. This is the exact opposite. I see it very regularly. Another reason is that it's fun. I just haven't played around with paper in a while, and it seemed like it was kind of a fun thing to do. And this is just an inexpensive desk blotter. It's the kind of calendar that someone might put on their desk. I just mounted it on the wall. And I don't feel like I'm creating something precious that I'm going to need to hold on to and create clutter. That was one of the problems I had when I was using a paper bullet journal, was that I felt like, wow, I'm creating these like very personal, decorative, creative things, and I don't want to throw them away, but then that means that I have to store them and all that. With this, I'm totally fine just tossing it, shredding it and putting it in recycling when I'm done. And I even had some fun and did a couple doodles here. These are just, I was looking at this one night, and it was like, some catalog for something that I would never buy, and just tons and tons of junk mail. So it was just kind of fun to add these and show some of my feelings of disdain toward all the junk mail. So another reason I set it up this way is that I find it kind of motivating. These little rewards work really well on me. And I really want to see that entire month filled up with, stickers each day to show that I did what I thought I was going to do. The clearance pricing on the calendar didn't hurt either. This is a 2019 calendar, and I bought it in March. So by that point, everything for 2019 is on clearance, and I got this for a great price. The stickers I already had, so it, really is not an expense at all for the stickers. So another reason is like I like to just keep changing things up and kind of just trying new things just to kind of keep me thinking, keep me on my toes. I feel like it's easy to get complacent and just stop noticing things after a while, and then when you do something new, it's like, whoa, that's new, let me pay attention to that. And then finally, I'm hoping that if this experiment works, that I will gain a new tool that I can use in my life to tackle new areas, or maybe, continue to work on this area. So I'm putting this one habit above all else. And if it works well, I can, put next month's focus on another area that needs attention. And so what I like about this is that if it works the way I hope it does, it will give me an additional tool to use to tackle things in my life without really adding anything to my workload. Like, these are things I'm already doing. It's just kind of focusing it in one area for a month. Now, what I'm going to do is assess how well this worked at the end of April, and I'll add it to May's Plan with Me video, and then I will decide if this stays a part of my life for now. So thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, I would love it if you'd subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And as I mentioned, this is kind of my first foray into a much more visible paper tool. So if you have any questions or comments about it, I would love to hear those too. So I will see you soon. Bye-bye.